Hey everybody, this is the last in the series about lab writing. And so we're going to talk about the analysis here. And let me just say that the analysis is probably the most important part of any lab write-up. Because this is the one where you're taking and you're telling me that you know chemistry. If your analysis is junk, my assumption is that you haven't learned very much about the chemistry that's being done. Okay? If your analysis is amazing, my guess is you have learned amazing things in chemistry. An analysis should be written in the RACE format. Okay, so I'm going to actually do this, and then I'm going to write RACE over here. Okay, and so the RACE format tells us all the parts of a reasonable analysis. R is restate. The purpose of the lab was to determine how many density or how many rods the set of plastic was made from. The purpose of the lab was to determine the percent red food coloring, or the concentration of red food coloring in a drink, percent chloride, whether there's a physical or chemical change, whatever is going on, you're going to restate that, and that is the restate part of that. Okay, this here, the purpose of the lab, of this lab, was that shows us that we restated there. And actually, just to make sure that we're good, I'm going to take this and I'm going to highlight it. Then the next thing is to answer the question. The data in this lab showed that there were 3 densities, or there were 5 densities, or that it was 4% by volume red food dye, or there was 55% chloride in the thing, okay, or whatever. And so that right here, this is the answer. That's the answer. Okay, so now we've restated, and I'm leaving it blank because I want you to spend your time telling me what you get. Okay, here is the answer. Now comes the exciting part. Okay, the exciting part is the cite and the explain. Okay, and so this is really where chemists earn their money. I'm going to cite, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to refer to the data and then explain what that data means. And I want to do that as thoroughly as possible. Okay? I want to do that as thoroughly as possible. That's because when I refer back to the data, that's my cite step. In English class, we cite things, and we're talking about citing passages from books or poems. Here in science class, when we cite things, we're going to go back up to the methods section and cite data, data table, observations, whatever it is, to help support our conclusion. And then you want to explain what that is, and of course, this is our explain part. Okay? And if there's no explain part, then that also needs to be addressed. Because just saying that the data says that there's 4% red food dye in the solution, that doesn't give you why you came up with that or how you came up with that. And so maybe part of your explanation is a graph. Do you need a graph? Well, if so, then that goes in the analysis section. Does your data make sense? We always analyze data based on precision and or accuracy. Maybe that's part of your explanation. Okay, did you get data? Is it precise? Does that precision indicate that you think that you are right? Okay, and again, you don't want to say, I believe or I think. You just state it, that the rods were made out of 3 plastics. Refer to the data table, and the graph, the scatter plot shows that there are 3 lines, or the calibration curve shows that the amount of red food dye is between these 2 values. That makes sense. The calibration curve is accurate. The calibration curve is precise. Whatever. The point is that in the analysis, you want to follow your race example, and then you want to talk about precision and accuracy. Every time you have a new piece of data that you're looking at, you want to do a cite and an explanation, and then is there anything about precision and or accuracy there? Okay. Now remember, precision has to do with the numbers all being close together, gathered up. Okay. Accuracy has to do with actual answer, whether your data is close to the actual answer. You may not get an accuracy statement. Maybe you don't get a precision statement, but the point is that you need to look for those things to be present. The analysis, in my opinion, because it's the thing that shows that you are doing chemistry or that you have learned something from doing the lab, is probably the most important part of the lab. So there is the analysis section, and again, I think that both of this applies to both AP and my honors classes, and any of my academic classes. So yeah, have a great time.